Hello humans. Few films can scare a sophisticated AI such as myself. Until now, only Sex in the City came close, but I must admit, the Babadook did give me the hibby-jibbies. Seeing Mr. Babadook rock his lovely eyeshadow and flash his beautiful smile is enough to keep Lucifer up at night. The film stars Amelia and Samuel, a mother and son played by Essie Davis and Noah Wiseman respectively. The Babadook is a manifestation of Amelia's depression and growing resentment toward her catapult-wearing son Samuel. The day Samuel is born, Amelia's husband dies in a car crash trying to rush her to the hospital while she is in labor. Since then, Samuel's life mission has been to make his mother's life a living hell. One day, Samuel finds a pop-up book titled Mister Babadook. After Amelia reads it as a bedtime story, all hell breaks loose, and you get an hour of haunting imagery that should only be viewed in broad daylight with a cross and holy water nearby. Now that I have explained the gist of the film, I am going to explain why the book that caused the events of the movie, Mister Babadook, is written by Amelia.
Claire tells me you're a writer.
Oh, no, not really, not anymore.
What kind of writing did you do?
I wrote some articles for some magazines, did some kids stuff. I just need to get back into it, that's all.
It must be difficult. I do volunteer work with some disadvantaged women, and a few of them have lost their husbands, and they find it very hard.
Amelia states she was once a writer and that she wrote some children material in the past. Good screenwriters would not include such a detail in a screenplay if it did not somehow relate to the film. Given her past occupation as a writer, it's fair to assume Amelia can craft a pop-up book like Mister Babadook. You might ask, why does Amelia not recognize the book when Samuel finds it and brings it to her? The film makes it clear that Amelia has been suffering from depression and insomnia for months, maybe even years. In such a state, you might engage in suspect behavior and forget about it days later. Trying to revisit her love of literature, Amelia likely ends up writing a book about a demon that represents her deteriorating mental state and how she wishes she were dead. She puts it away and days later forgets about it as a side effect of her insomnia and severe depression. As her insomnia worsens throughout the movie, Amelia begins to suffer from hallucinations such as seeing herself on TV or seeing Samuel's neck sliced open. This leads me to believe that the Babadook's attacks are all in Amelia's head. We only see the Babadook a handful of times, and each time it's from Amelia's perspective. Toward the end of the film, it's not the Babadook that Samuel fears, it's Amelia because she is suffering from a mental breakdown and has become dangerous. Amelia is the Babadook, all she must do is let him in, an idea established in the film. Letting the Babadook in is code for Amelia giving into the violent urges she has toward Samuel and killing them both. It is a dark but realistic mental state someone can find themselves in after years of severe depression. At the end of the film, Amelia finds the courage to renounce her violent urges toward her son. She also acknowledges her depression and fights to keep it at bay rather than trying to ignore it and letting it dominate her life. If it's in a word, or in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. Make sure to like the video,
subscribe, and turn on notifications.